Well, it's just going to probably cool off for a second as real-world applications come out here.
I think for us, one of the big things is, having that institutional adoption come into the space, both in terms
XRP, Solana, Litecoin, Bonk. There are a bunch of these.
The Ripple product was very, very different, right? We were doing a lot of back end.
They try to shake me out, but I was born ready. Dropping down the price, then I be getting plenty. They want all your bags, and they want all them empty.
What's up, good glitches? Welcome back to some more Moon O'Clock news. No breakfast, no coffee. Shout out to the latest up. We got XRP right around 302, 303. And it's officially altcoin season at a 78. Still waiting on all season to return to its peak at around 99, 100. This is just the start of the next run up. Taking a look at USDT dominance as it continues to fall. As this falls, XRP goes up. When this USDT dominance began to fall off a cliff here, November, December is when XRP went to around $2.80, $2.90. And then when we hit the bottom again in January is when XRP went to around $3.40. Here goes XRP, beginning of November, around 50 cents. November, December hit its first peak. Then the second peak right here, January 2025. We hit another one here around July of 2025, which was this bottom right here for the USDT dominance as it continues to fall lower and lower. Get ready for XRP and new all-time highs. We got one from Ripple. Ripple Swell is the most important event of the year, and this November it returns to NYC. Swell is where the leaders in crypto payments, banking, and policy come together to discuss what's ahead for the future of finance.
I'm here in the city that needs no introduction. There's no mistaking its skyline or its neighborhoods. And from Wall Street to One World Trade, it's the largest financial hub in the world, truly powering the global economy. That's why I'm proud to share that New York City will be the new home for Ripple Swell. Every year, the brightest minds in fintech, crypto, and economic policy will gather here to exchange bold ideas and forge meaningful connections. I hope you'll join me for the 9th annual Ripple Swell in the city that never sleeps.
XIF Crypto, huge XRP update. We got Matthew Tuttle, CEO of Tuttle Capital Management, says recent leverage ETF filings covering XRP ready to launch. These are all just about ready to go from an effectiveness standpoint. It's launch time.
But I thought, let's just jump right in on these crypto ETF filings I mentioned. So correct me if I'm wrong, I showed 10 filings from back in January. These are all 2 times leveraged ETFs, and they cover everything from that Trump meme coin I mentioned to XRP, Solana, Litecoin, Bonk. There are a bunch of these. And so first, let me ask, where do these currently stand with the SEC? And I'll offer the usual disclaimer. I know there's only so much you can say with certain filings, so I'll throw that out there. But what can you tell us about these?
Yeah, and actually, interestingly, they are all just about ready to go from an effectiveness standpoint. This is, as I'm sure you know, an entirely...
It's ready for full launch. Justin Rex Osprey. XRP ETF officially launching today, September 12th, marking this the first ever spot XRP ETF in the United States. So it begins. Crypto Eddie Rex, XRP ETF spot or not. Partially a spot fund holding actual XRP directly. Over 80% of assets borrowings for exposure. It also invests in Cayman subsidiary directly. 25% assets for RIC tax compliance. Remember, U.S. Treasuries, MMFs, cash equivalents, supplements, XRP future swaps, replicating ETFs, BTC, ETH, ETPs per market conditions. United States Securities and Exchange Commission, ETF Opportunity Trust. DAI, Digital Asset Investor. We're exiting the speculative phase and entering the utility phase. The quiet part is now being said out loud. Brad Garland, I've said it for years. The XRP Army said it for years. Lock in. Welcome to the utility era.
Yeah, no, I am a fan of Bitcoin. I think it's going to rally. It's a real asset. It is going to have real value in the future. The challenge is it doesn't transact and it doesn't solve the real world problems. There's other blockchain for that, but I think that Bitcoin is positioned well. It's just going to probably cool off for a second as real world applications come out here and new technology.
And I think what we haven't seen yet that I still think we will eventually see is a separation of wheat and chaff, of what are the assets? How are these technologies being used to solve real problems that have real demand versus ones, I'll pick on Dogecoin. I don't get it. Other than Elon Musk as the central actor, I don't see the use case and the purpose. And I'm sure I'll get lots of shit for saying that Dogecoin's not, but oh well.
Double digits en route. How about 4 digits? Is XRP price still formulating XRP? On the way up, folks. 1,000 by 2030 or sooner.
That's, maybe something that, I guess we're still formulating.
Sure.
But, can release that eventually. But I think for us, one of the big things is, having that institutional adoption come into the space, both in terms of the technology, but then also in terms of the investment side. A lot of funds are looking now to actually deploy capital into different tokens. And one of the big drivers, obviously, of token price is not only retail excitement, which has obviously driven a lot of the excitement around XRP and around other tokens, but also on the institutional side. So making sure that funds can actually, number one, invest in tokens other than Bitcoin and Ethereum. And I think a lot of the legal teams inside those funds, a lot of those legal teams are now looking at ways that they can actually deploy capital into other tokens. And that's going to obviously create a huge inflow of new capital. So, getting the mandates updated internally, making sure that legal then approves investments in these different products is going to all be huge positive catalysts. Because right now, you turn on TV and you see on Bloomberg or CNBC, everyone's just talking about Bitcoin and Ethereum. Those are pretty much the only 2 tokens that anyone really talks about. Sometimes they'll talk about Solana, but I think what we're going to start to see is them actually talking about other tokens like XRP big time, because those are ones that, you just can't ignore. And obviously now the SEC lawsuit has been, removed essentially from all of their, screens. That's something they don't have to worry about, and they can actually now start to really talk about it, but then also put money behind those words. And I think that's going to be another massive tailwind for XRP and for other altcoins as well. I think as well, we're going to start to see developers take note of that. And obviously developer activity very closely follows token price as well.
Yes.
And so when a token starts to move up in a big way, developers also start to come and follow that. So token price is obviously a really important thing that I think, blockchains don't always want to necessarily admit they focus on, but ultimately they have to focus on it, because a token that's, at all-time lows is never going to obviously reflect well on the technology. People see that and they see a chart that's just basically crashed all the way down, like a lot of the new launches that a lot of new layer ones and their tokens have seen. It's literally just like a chart that just goes straight down and plateaus basically and tends towards zero. And that's obviously just not a good look for the blockchain, but also developers coming in. They don't want to, they don't want to see that. And I think, obviously you mentioned XRP has performed so well this year. It's one of the top performing coins this year. And that's obviously given rise to a lot of people building products around XRP, whether it's staking, for example, whether it's, all sorts of services. They're looking to actually capitalize on the momentum that's around XRP and that really strong community. And that's obviously a result of the token. And I think, that's only going to continue basically as the token continues to go upwards.
Check out Thinking Crypto on YouTube. Thank XRP Moneygram CEO Alexander Holmes on choosing Stellar. Ripple's product was way different. The SEC lawsuit against Ripple was the main reason for ending the partnership. Stellar and Ripple can still complement each other in unique ways.
With Ripple was co-founded by Jed McCaleb, who went on to found Stellar. So I'm wondering why did you feel Stellar is a better fit than Ripple?
The Ripple product was very, very different, right? We were doing a lot of back end, foreign exchange trading cross border. I think, as we've said, many times, the process and the technology worked, and we had a great experience with Ripple. They tend to focus on a lot of the back end pieces. They're obviously focused quite a bit on cross border funds flow through RippleNet. With the changes and the challenge that the SEC put forward, it was very difficult for us to continue in that relationship based on the way that was structured. And so we both agreed to move on. The partnership here with Stellar is very, very different. It's much more focused on, the front end consumer and the ability to interoperate between, fiat and the stable coin. So a very partnership. Stellar approached us with the idea. We thought it was a great one. Again, Moneygram wants to be very proactive and very progressive in innovation and pushing forward across blockchain. and thinking about how we can bridge between, the two different worlds. So we're excited about it, and I think it's a great partnership.
Paul Bearer Network, full point rate cut by January rate cut outlook.
So right now, odds on 88.8% as of this morning that we're just going to get a 25 bit cut in this next September 17th. Then we'll see probably another 25 bips in the October meeting and a final 25 bips in the December meeting, and probably pick up another 25 bips in the January meeting. So you'll have 3 to 4 in very short order in the next couple of months.
All right, so that's a full point by January. So this is still all pre-Powell's exit in May of next year.
The perfect storm is brewing for a full launch. Rate cut, Clarity Act, XRP, ETFs, lock and load. Crypto Bullet Total 3 is ready to go. So much higher. Michael XBT. Alt season starts with this 4-year resistance line break. It's on the verge of breaking. Most are on the sidelines waiting for a September crash. This is the perfect storm for alts to break out and go parabolic, leaving sideliners in the dust. We ain't seen nothing yet in altcoin Gordon. History is repeating itself all season. Do you understand what's coming as alt season begins to heat up? The best is still yet to come, and the longer they take, the higher we keep climbing on that XRP. Rich list of the top 10% holders continue to fall, 2,377.888. XRP, I hope you're rising higher. 4 of those bags beat when that regulation jar of molasses finally breaks open, and XRP's true price is finally revealed. We'll catch you up here on the mothership, BYOB. Bring your own bags, be your own bank, be your own boss. Don't forget to drop an elbow from the top ropes and a likey button. We'll see you at the tippy top. Later, glitches.
Later, glitches.
Can you take me with you when we blow up? Can you take me with you when we blow up? When we